What is going on, guys? Joe Podge here, and today we are talking about Glocks, basically just handguns and all-around safety precautions when handling firearms, handguns, rifles. I don't care what type of firearm you have, but this is specifically pertaining more towards handguns, and we're kind of doing an all-around video for Glock for handguns today. I kind of wanted to just show you concealed holster that I have, open carry, explain them, talk about mainly in this video the safety precautions you should take when you're carrying or handling a firearm, specifically handguns today because I don't have a rifle to demonstrate for those, and the functionalities of handguns. Just an overall sort of talk. This is more so directed for newcomers with firearms. If you've purchased your first firearm, I'm going to give you some insight into handguns and the world of firearms, so you can kind of get an idea and feel a little bit more comfortable when you finally carry, or you use, or you practice, or you hold any firearm. So it's kind of an all-around video today, but I wanted to talk about safety with firearms. I think that's very important. So number one rule is it's kind of combined, keep your finger off the trigger, specifically horizontal above the trigger guard or the slide when you're not shooting it. Right, that's important. And right up to the moment when you're shooting, then your finger goes on the trigger. Right, I don't even care if you're pointed at the target. Your finger should be off the trigger. That is the number one safety rule. Now, again, I've said this before. Yeah, you might know factually that there's no round in the chamber. It might be clear, but you never know. Maybe you forgot one day. You loaded. There's a round in there, and you just forgot. And then you pull the trigger and you shoot something or someone that you definitely didn't want to shoot or harm or damage. So your finger is always off the trigger. Right, again, I don't even care if you're pointing at the target. If you're at a gun range, I don't even care if you're already pointing at the target. You know, your finger should still be off until you're ready to shoot. So when you draw, so I shoot with my right hand. That's my dominant hand for firearms, but so you can see it. You know, I'm drawing. My finger is still above the trigger right until the moment I'm ready to shoot. And finger's still not on the trigger. I'm, kind of faking it for you, pretending it's on the trigger. So you draw and then your finger goes on, right? It's not your finger's on while you're drawing. Terrible idea. So when you're pointing at something that you shouldn't be you should never point at something you don't mean to. But if you do, you're renting a firearm at a gun range and you have to hold the gun down or whatever and walk past people, point it down, finger above the trigger. That is the number one most important rule of a firearm. Safety precaution is keeping your finger just above the trigger. It doesn't have to be exactly, you don't have to keep it stiff and all, professional, and it has to be perfect. Just keep your finger off the trigger, basic rule. So, yeah, and this is my Glock 48, if you guys are wondering. It's a nice, more compact Glock. They have bigger Glocks, longer slides, longer mag wells or grips, whatever you want to call it. Nice and compact. I really, really do like this gun. I haven't put too many rounds through it, but it's not that old. Planning to do that more in the future. So, this is kind of a safety precaution. I mean, it depends person to person, but I personally, when I carry, I do not have a round in the chamber. That's because statistically and factually, the majority of situations that you're going to come across, if you do have to draw your firearm on someone, you have more than enough time to chamber around and put your sights on a target or aim at the target, right? It's not like it's very rare that you're going to come across in a situation where someone's immediately aiming at you and shooting at you. Generally, a lot of scenarios where people are meaning to do harm, rob a store or an establishment, their back is turned away from you or they're not really paying attention, But, I mean, it's nice to carry with a round in the chamber, but if you're not comfortable doing so, then carry without a round in the chamber so you can, I'll check for safety, so you can put the magazine in with rounds, and yes, I do have self-defense 9mm rounds in my magazine. And finger is off the trigger. I'm demonstrating good practice here. But you can carry like that, and it's just fine. To show you how quick it is to chamber a round, I mean, there is a very small chance you might come across a situation where, yeah, it's life or death if you have to chamber a round. If you're not quick enough, you're dead. But that is far-fetched. I mean, that does happen, but it's more often than not, you're going to have ample enough time to draw your weapon, chamber around, and then engage the target. I mean, that's just statistically and factually. You're never going to come across a situation where people are, coming right at you. It happens, but more often, or more rarely than not, that happens. So we'll put that back in there. Let's cover the holsters. Spring is very tight in this. There we go. Okay, I didn't bring up my other magazine for this. So more safety precautions as well. Never point this, obviously, at anyone or anything you do not want to shoot. Now, if you're inside your house and you're dry firing and you put tape on the walls or targets up and you're dry firing, that's totally fine. I mean, I can check and I can dry fire, find the wall of the trigger, practice if I need to. I do need to get some dry firing around so that I'm not, doing this extensively to damage the pin. But, that's fine for a short amount of time. So, if you know factually that the gun is clear, this is clear, and you want to practice inside your room, not aiming it in a direction where anyone is through the wall. I'm upstairs, my family is downstairs. Then you can do that all day long, and there's not going to be an issue. I would aim more towards, a wall that if a bullet was to pass through, it would be outside. I mean, those are really the basic safety precautions of a firearm. Keeping your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot, and, it's kind of a safety rule. If you're not comfortable, don't carry with a round in the chamber, and don't point it at anything you do not want to shoot or damage or kill. Very, very important. Again, this is an all-over sort of video. I'm just covering some basic things. I'm not covering how to clean this. I will in the future, though. There are many videos on how to clean Glocks and handguns. They're relatively the same, especially with Glocks. Basically the same precautions. Some Glocks fire different calibers, so the process might be a little bit different. You might have thicker bore brushes and things like that, but same thing, really. Not much of a difference there. So how do you remove the slide and clean the gun? I'm not going to show you how to clean the gun, but how do you take the gun apart, basically? So what you're going to do is say that the trigger is hot, meaning you can pull the trigger, it's not compressed. You're going to make sure the chamber is empty, there's no round in there. You're going to pull the trigger, essentially. Then you can kind of wrap on this little extended part of the grip and the slide, this part that kind of pops out. You can wrap your thumb around. See how I can kind of pull the slide back just a little bit? It's barely moving. You can pull that back a little bit. There's these two tabs on each side. This is these tabs right here. Pull them both down and it just slides right off. Let's show you that again. So it's check to see if there's a round, pull the trigger. And that's basically it. And then you have the spring right here that you take out by just pushing on it just a little bit to push that spring forward and allow you to get it out. And then the barrel, you just push underneath, take the barrel out, and that's essentially taking apart a Glock. It literally takes, if you were to speed run it, it literally takes 2 seconds to take apart a Glock. They are super user-friendly and very, very reliable firearms. So we'll take that apart without me really saying anything to you guys. Sometimes this can be a little weird to put the slide back on. So gun taken apart, easy. So how do you put it back together? So the barrel with these threads or these pieces sticking up, it slides into, this is upside down, this is right side up. Upside down, it slides into this part of the slide. Just slides right in, and it just sits in there. It doesn't lock. It can move around. The spring, this is kind of the portion that compresses and pushes. So that goes inside sits on the slide, and then this more flat head sits on the bottom groove of one of those pointed up bits that I showed you on the barrel. And then to put the unit's trying to get in. To put the slide back on, you just rack it and it's automatic. It's super easy. You think a firearm with this basic of a functionality, with it being so basic, you'd figure that it'd be a horrible gun. Because you'd think, or some inexperienced people would think that, a good gun would be super hard to put back together. It'd be super hard and there'd be a bunch of things to take apart, and that actually can signal really cheaply made guns. If there's a whole bunch of screws and stuff that you have to take out, a good quality firearm you can take apart literally just by doing that. And this polymer frame, it's super light, but the interior workings are just immaculate and just amazing. That's what makes them so nice. And I am pointing away. Yuna's at the door, but it's being pointed all the way over there. So, kind of safety, and I take that apart. Now we'll cover my holsters that I have. Can you guess which is conceal and which is open? Oh, here, how about I give you an actual better view? This conceal carry, this is newer than this. I got this about 4 or 5 months ago. Actually longer than that, 6, 7 months ago. This is my open carry holster, which I no longer really use. I had to order some spare screws to fit this part and to get it tighter, because for some reason it came and one of the screws were stripped. It's just stupid. But I did buy these both from the same company, We the People holsters, and they do make really nice, just really basic carry holsters. So the Glock 48, we'll press the trigger just to be safe. So this is my open carry. Fits nicely, looks real nice. I just love the molding on this holster. And then my conceal carry, a little bit more, I wouldn't say it's slim, but you know, you don't have this bulky piece to go on your belt. This goes on your belt, and it doesn't fit all the way. The entire handgun is not in your pants. My finger representing the belt, it's about where it stops, but it's good to just throw a shirt over and you can't tell. The way this fits inside your pants and the way your shirt goes over it, perfect. Barely noticeable. You know, if you have a jacket on, even better. This is my conceal holster. It's like $40, really basic conceal holster. And then we have my open carry holster, which is good, but the conceal obviously better for safety reasons too. If you need the element of surprise, go with conceal carry, and I didn't really deck this one out. I ordered this with sort of a military tan, whereas this is just black. You know, I don't need anything flashy or showy, but you know, nobody's going to see this either. This is mostly in my pants. I mean, that's really it. You know, talk more about the Glock 48. You know, it does come with a 10-round magazine. It's not the highest capacity magazine for a Glock out there, but I did order a +4 mag extension for the Glock 48. It's red, looks really tactical and cool, but when I'm carrying, I'm using this. I'm using the basic 10-round mag. I think that's enough. If I'm going somewhere where I think I'll need more, I'll carry the other mag. You know, that's not a big issue. Just throw it in my pocket or something. So again, basic functionality, but again, taking this apart, it's going to differ per handgun that you have. You know, they're not all going to be taken apart the same way, but you know, if we're talking about Glocks, you have now the basic idea how to take apart a Glock and not really clean it, because I didn't explain that, but there are millions of videos on how to clean Glocks. Not very hard. It's a little weird at first to do, but you know, not bad at all. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see next, and I will definitely see you in the next video. Bye-bye.